Hi folks, so what we're going to be doing in this video is a question from the Leaving Cert Ordinary Level paper. It is the 2018 Section B Question 1 question. The topic kind of revolves around is the area of orthographic projection and auxiliary. So it says here, the graphic on the right shows a portion of a house and a bay window, which we can see here. It also says figure B1 shows an isometric view of a similar structure, which we're given down here, which is figure B1. Okay, it obviously has all the measurements that we're going to need for the drawing. Part A, draw an elevation of the complete structure looking in the direction of the arrow, which is going in this direction. So essentially they're saying, what do we see when we look in this direction? Obviously we can see the structure. And then part B, draw a plan from the elevation. So we have to draw a plan which would generally be projected in a bird's eye view looking down top of it. And then part C, draw an auxiliary elevation of the structure projected from the plan, which will include the true shape of the surface A. Okay, so we're going to have to use the surface A there, which is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees here, which is kind of what it says on the sheet. Okay, so to start off, we're going to draw the elevation and the plan. So for the elevation, let's look at some of our measurements. The overall height of it is 80 plus 35. You can see here a line running across here. 80 plus 35 would add up to 115, and the overall length of it is 120. So I'm going to create a box that is 115 high by 120 long. So on my sheet, I've already set up for the question with an XY line. Okay, kept it a little bit lower than halfway because I know I'm going to have to put my plan here, my elevation here. The reason I kept it on the left hand side of the sheet is because I'm going to be projecting my auxiliary elevation over in this direction based on face A, which is going to be down here at this angle, because when we're projecting this way, we're going to have an X1, Y1 like that. Okay, so starting off 120 millimeters for the length. While I'm at it, I'll mark the exact middle as well. 120, half 120 will be 60. So, vertical line, using a red bar for my construction. And I'm marking up to 11.5, just to there. And I'll mark up the 80 as well, just to have it done. And I'm also going to put in middle line ever so lightly like that as well. Okay, and we can see it there. Now, I can actually start to heavy in some of my structure straight away. So this is the outside edge. And once again, another outside edge. And the two of these points will connect up to create the pitch on the roof section. And there we go. That's that part of it done there. Okay, if we're just to look here, after heavying in this line, this line, this line, and this line, which runs back here. That is the overall shape that we're going to see, everything fitted inside of that box that we created there. Now what we have to do is we have to get in the information here. Now, are we told anything? Now, I've already got the center point up here at the top, and you can see here this structure here is on the 80 line, and it's 34 long. That means it's going to be 17 to the right and 17 to the left because it's symmetrical. We've also got a gap here of this on this side of 10 and another gap on this side of 10, and then the height of this section here at the front is also 60. So that's what we're going to put in there now. So from this point in here in the middle, I'm going to measure 17 to the right and 17 to the left. So 17 to the left and 17 to the right. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to measure up a height of 60 millimeters. In that height, light line across like that, and on that line I'm going to measure in from this edge here 10 millimeters, and also from this edge 10 millimeters back, or I should say 1 centimeter, and light line up, light line up. And I'm going to start heavying in some information. I'm going to heavy that up to there, this one to here, heavy in those sections there. That's the 34, and this guy is going to connect to here and here. I'm also going to heavy in one more section, this line going the whole way across here. Now, that is as much of the elevation that I can heavy in. And you'll see here, I'm actually missing a couple of lines. I'm missing this line, this one, and this one. I was only able to put in the outside structure of it. The reason I don't have this line and this line is because they do not give me a length for those lines at the front, okay, or up here. Because once I find this length here, I actually can find this point, which is going to be helpful, because that point there connects to this one, which I do have, but I don't know where this point or this point is. So sometimes when you can't find all the information in the elevation, you have to move on to the next view here, which is our plan. So that's what we're going to move on to there now. We're just going to take note of some measurements. We've obviously already got the overall length of 120. I now have the overall depth down here. And you can see here, this section at the back is 15 wide. And then we also have a section here at the front, which is 30 wide. And take note of that angle there of 30 degrees. Because when I look down the top of the plan, I'm going to see the whole of this structure, the roof portion. Then I'm going to see this triangle. I'm going to see this shape here. And then this shape. Okay? Because all of these other faces, face A, this face here at the front, I will see only this edge here. So I'm going to see it as an edge view. So, any information that I already have from the elevation, I'm going to transfer it down. All your lengths. We'll transfer down as well. A little bit further there. There we go. Now, usually the gap I say inside in class to keep between your elevation and your plan, anywhere at all from 10 to 20. So I'm going to go about 15 millimeters today. So I mark 15 millimeters down from my XY line. And then I'm also going to start putting in those measurements. So the first measurement for my first step was 15 from this line. And after that measurement then it was another 30. Altogether adding up to 45. And from those two measurements, I think I have one other line to bring down. Yeah, this one here, and this one here. I'm going to start heavying in a bit of information now. Outlining, or I should say outlining what's important. Okay. So this section that I'm heavying in right now is actually the roof portion. Okay, and the next section I'm going to start heavying in is the portion here at the front. Now, just on that portion there, we can see here that there's an angle. This face A has an angle of 30 degrees, which they tell us inside in here to take note of. Now, that angle of 30 degrees, what's important to note is if you look at this as a triangle to get this edge, if that angle up there is 30 degrees, this angle down here we can see clearly is 90, then this angle by default has to be 60. Okay, so that little angle going that way is also 60. So from that point, which we can see if I just bring it here, this point, which is in our elevation here, which means this is where it is in our plan. Okay, from that point we're going to go at an angle of 30 degrees, but if we also work out, it's also an angle of 60 degrees if I'm reading from this way, 30 degrees down but 60 degrees up. So I'm going to go 60 degrees like this. And that is going to determine to me then where that face A, okay, I see it now as an edge view. And it's going to be the exact same on the opposite side because it's symmetrical. It's going to go 60 degrees that way as well. Now that I have that, I can heavy in this portion. And then finally, this point here, connect to here. And likewise at the opposite side, there to there. Okay, now the information that I'm after finding in my plan, I'm now going to project it up because this point here now is after helping me determine where that front edge is there and here. Now that I've found those, I can now bring them up to my elevation. Connect these two up. And then finally, heavy in this edge on the way down. Okay, so there you have it, guys. That there is the elevation completed and the plan view completed. So if I just bring the sheet over here, part A done, part B done. Now the next section we're on to is the auxiliary elevation. So Draw an auxiliary elevation of the structure projected from the plan which will include the true shape of the surface A. Okay, now an auxiliary elevation, when you are drawing an auxiliary elevation, it will always be projected from the plan because we project from the plan view, but we take our heights from the elevation. If you were to draw an auxiliary plan, you would project from the elevation but take your depths from the plan. Okay, so if you know one, you kind of know the other. It'll just give you a different view of the object. But what we want to take note is we want to include the true shape of the surface A. So we want to see this surface A here as a true shape. Now that surface A is a rectangle. The only way I can ever see something as a true shape is if I look directly at it. Okay, so if you imagine there was a little stick man standing there, okay, looking directly at it, that is the only way he can see it. He wouldn't have been able to see it if he was looking from this direction, which was the elevation, or if he was up here in the sky, the bird's eye view looking down on top of it. He has to look at it from an angle, and that angle there is the line here we already know that is at 30 degrees going down but 60 degrees going up. Okay, so our x1, y1 is going to be parallel to that face right there. That surface A. Just going to put in A there with a little arrow. That is our surface A. I'll actually put a little letter here as well. There's our surface A. So, I'm going to get this set up now. So what I'm going to do is, parallel to the surface A, which is a line going at 60 degrees, I'm going to set up an x1, y1 out here like this. Okay? I'm just thinking it's going to project there. So an x1, y1 will be just looking at the object, how wide it is, something like that there, I think would be appropriate. I'm going to call it x1, y1. Okay, now if I if I have my x1, y1 parallel to my surface A, which is an edge view, okay, if I have my x1, y1, I have to project out the lines perpendicular to that. So 60 plus what makes 90, which will give us a perpendicular angle. 60 plus 30 degrees will make 90. So any points that I have down here in my plan view, I'm now going to project upwards. Okay, every one of the points, I'll project them all up in one go, save me a bit of time. Some will come up a little bit higher than others. This one here. It's quite close there now. So as you can see, simply just projecting every one of the points up. Then finally this one here at the back. There we go. Had it pretty much bang on there. As you can see, all my lines have been projected up. Okay, perpendicular. Just going to put in a little symbol here, showing perpendicular to the x1, y1. Now, if we project from the plan, we have to take all our heights from the elevation. So starting off, what I'm actually going to build up first of all is the surface A, okay, which is this point here and this point here in my plan, but we can see in the elevation that's actually equating to 4 points. This point here in elevation would be this point, and likewise with this one would be this one and this one. So first of all, this point and this point, okay, where I have in my plan, if I follow them down and bring them all the way up to my x1, y1, well, that's one of them, and the other one is right here. Now, why are they here and here? They are there because these are the 2 points that are on the ground, and our ground here is on the xy line, which is similar here in the x1, y1. This is representing our ground, okay? Because we're just taking another auxiliary elevation, it's drawing another elevation just at a different angle, okay? So those 2 points there, this one and this one, if you follow it down, bring it all the way out, that's the first one. This one here, follow it down, bring it all the way out, that's the second one. So how do I get the height for the next one? I can take those heights straight from my elevation here, this one here, like this, and I can come down here to find it here, follow it up, and where it is here, mark it on the elevation. Now I could also mark it on this one, just to show you. I'll heavy that in now, because we will see that structure. And what you'll actually notice is, because the two lines, the 2 points here at the same height, they're actually going to be parallel to my x1, y1, which I know is going at 60 degrees. Okay, so a little time saver there. So that there is the true shape of surface A. So I'm going to write that in. True shape A. So we've got the true shape of A. Now we're going to build up the rest of the structure. So what we have to decide is, what do we see when we look at the structure? So I'm actually going to start off, first of all, I've got the true shape of A, but I'm going to start off first of all, yeah, I'll actually put in all of this space. I would see, if I'm just looking here, and I'll get my other pen there, wherever it is gone, I would see this structure as the true shape. I would see a portion of this structure. I'm assuming I'm going to see this, and I'll see a bit of this as well. I don't think I'm going to see this back surface over here. So they're the first four I'm going to start with. I've this one got, I'm going to get this one, and this one. So, building those up, I'm going to start here with this face next, which is simply starting here. I've got the overall height of that one. Now I want to get it up here. It's going to be at the same height as this portion. I'm simply going to project this line down. It's going to show me, that's the side face there, or the front face I should say. Okay, now the next portion I want to get is, if you remember, was this one here. So I'm looking for this point right here next, and then this one. Okay, because that point there connects to this point, and this one connects to here and here, which we haven't found yet. So I want to find this one here. If I follow it down, it's coming from here. I actually forgot to project that one up. This one up to that height. So if I want to find that point down here, I take the height from the elevation, which is there, follow it down to here, follow it out with my compass, mark it up there. And that point right there is helpful to me because that connects to here and here, which is the true shape of my surface A. So heavy in this portion, Now what I want to find is the next one here. So follow it down, bring it out. I can see then that it's along there and it's at the same height as this one. So rather than using my compass, I can actually just project this across like that. And if I follow it out, that's where the exact point is. So I'm going to heavy that in now, so I know they connect to each other as well. And then from this point here, it connects all the way over to here at the front. So there's that portion of it. Now what we want to do is we want to get maybe this side face here, and then this surface here on the top. And I'm not sure, I don't think we're going to see that back edge there, but we will see this edge here, and as it's going to continue on down the back. So they're the next ones we're going to get. So I'm going to start off with the side face here, just to show you that I have that connected up there. So the side face is in between this line and this line as it projects up, and it has an overall height. So I'm going to project that height up, take the height here from the elevation, which I actually already have done. Let's mark it again. So there's the first one. There's the second one. So I'll heavy this in now. There's that portion already put in. Now I could have just lined it up. You can see here they're in line with each other once again. Actually put it in over here, continue it on, because I am going to need it in a minute. Now the next height I'm going to actually get is the height of this point here, which comes from here and here. I'm going to take the overall height for that, so 115 up to the top. That height there, I'm going to come down to where it is in the plan view, follow it up, mark that one up there, and likewise with this one, I have to extend that line a good bit further. So there we go. Now this front one here is going to connect like this. This one over here will connect like this, and the two of those will actually connect to each other as well at an angle of 60 degrees. Now that I've done that one, I want to find the one on the opposite side. So if you follow it here, this one connects to here, which is down here in my plan view. I can see that meets right there. So I'm going to heavy this in. And then, to finish off the drawing, heavy in this down to here, because that's where that edge is running. Okay, so that is actually the drawing completed, okay, showing the auxiliary elevation. However, a lot of people might make a mistake here. In orthographic projection, you have to put in any hidden detail in regards to the drawing of the object that you cannot see. So first of all, to put in that hidden detail, I'm going to start off with the back face right here, okay, because obviously if we look here at the drawing, there's a back point here which I haven't found yet, okay, and that obviously is running down there like that all the way to the ground, and it's going to meet up, let's say something now down like this, then I think it comes in and it'll be like that. I think that's the idea behind it, essentially something like that. Okay, we have to show that hidden detail, and obviously there's a structure here that we weren't able to see this face, and there's obviously an edge running down there as well that we're going to have to be able to put in a minute. So that's what I need to start heading in now. So if I want to find that edge there, that we found the front one, which we could see, we didn't find the back one, so the back one is going to be right there. Okay, so if I can't see it, I have to still put it in as hidden detail, and it also connects up to here. So light line, but I'm just going to put it in as hidden detail, which is kind of a dotted line. I'm now going to heavy in this one here. Okay, and there's obviously an edge here that is running all the way to the ground, as there is one here. So they will also go in as hidden detail. We're trying to make it as neat and tidy as possible. Never go over your lines. This one the whole way down as well. Okay, so as you can see, we're after putting in the back face there, or the back part of the roof, and the side face that we couldn't see. But we also have one last little bit to find. Okay, as I said, which is this one here, this point over here, which connects to this one, which we've already found, and this one. We have to find that point because there's going to be a hidden detail line running down there as well. So that point is this point right here, and we need to find that. So it's at this height, which has already been put in, this line of 60 millimeters up. So if I follow that up all the way to here, that's where it is. So that point right there is actually going to connect to here. I'll put that in as hidden detail, and that edge will also run down along here as well. Okay, there you have it, guys. That there is the hidden detail completed on the auxiliary elevation, but most importantly, it also includes the true shape. Okay, so a little bit involved in actually completing the question there. The understanding of the main structure was fine, but obviously when you get onto the hidden detail, it can become quite complex, and you have to imagine, position yourself in this position here in the direction of the borough. What can I see of the structure? Use your sheet for guidance. If you imagine, as I said, a little stickman here, what can I see of the structure and the faces that you can't see? Well, any edges that are on those faces, you're going to then put it in as hidden detail. Okay, so that was the 2018 section B1 ordinary level completed there, based on the topic of orthographic projection and auxiliaries.